The explosion did not ask permission. It didn't hesitate. It didn't warn anyone that everything they understood about safety, routine, and control was about to shatter. One moment, the diner was nothing more than flickering neon, chipped mugs, and the tired comfort of a late-night refuge. The next, the world split open with a roar so violent it felt like reality itself had been torn in half. Glass burst inward like a storm of knives. Wood snapped. Metal screamed. Time didn't slow. It panicked. And in that chaos, a billionaire learned what real power looked like. Before we go any further, if you believe courage still exists in ordinary places, if you believe second chances are earned in moments no one sees, pause for 1 second. Like this story. Share it. Leave a comment. Stories like this survive only because people choose to pass them forward. The boy who moved first didn't think of himself as brave. His name was Evan Cole. 22 years old. No titles. No savings. No influence. Just a warehouse job that paid enough to keep the lights on and a quiet belief that life had already decided he would never matter much. He sat in a cracked vinyl booth, hoodie pulled tight, staring at his hands like they were strangers. Hands that lifted boxes. Hands that signed time cards. Hands that never seemed to build anything permanent. Across from him sat a girl named Lily. They weren't friends. They hadn't planned to sit together. The diner was crowded, and the waitress had waved them into the same booth with practiced indifference. Lily had kind eyes, the kind that carried exhaustion without bitterness. She stirred her coffee too much and kept glancing at the windows like she was waiting for something to go wrong. Evan noticed. He didn't comment. People like Evan learned early not to ask questions. The impact came without explanation. A vehicle lost control, or maybe something else. It didn't matter. The front window exploded inward, glass spraying the room like frozen rain. Tables flipped. Plates shattered. Someone screamed a name that disappeared into the noise. Lily froze. Not screamed. Not ran. Froze. Her eyes went wide, her body locked, her hands gripping the edge of the table like it was the only thing holding her in place. Evan didn't know what he was doing until he was already doing it. The table slammed aside as he lunged across the booth, pulling Lily down and wrapping his body around hers. His back took the glass. His shoulder took the splintered wood. His head hit the floor hard enough to bloom stars behind his eyes. Pain arrived instantly. But he didn't move. He didn't loosen his grip. In that moment, Evan Cole wasn't a nobody. He wasn't invisible. He was a barrier. A shield. The final line between danger and a life that wasn't his. When the chaos finally slowed, the diner looked like a battlefield. Blood smeared the tiles. Booths lay broken. The air was thick with dust, fear, and the distant wail of sirens. Someone pulled Evan back. Hands pressed napkins against his wounds. His hoodie was soaked red. His ribs burned with every breath. Lily sat upright, shaking, but alive. That was the only thing Evan cared about. Then the doors opened again. Not violently this time, but heavily. The room changed. Conversation stopped. Movement slowed. Instinct kicked in. A group of men entered, radiating something dangerous and controlled. Not loud. Not reckless. Powerful. Their jackets were expensive leather. Their eyes hard. Their silence intentional. At the center walked a man whose presence bent the room around him. Sebastian Vale. A billionaire. Not the kind that smiled for magazine covers or tweeted motivational quotes. Sebastian Vale was a self-made industrial titan whose name moved markets quietly. Shipping. Logistics. Defense manufacturing. He built empires while others argued. His eyes scanned the wreckage until they landed on Lily. For the first time since he entered, the billionaire moved fast. He crossed the diner and dropped to his knees in a suit that cost more than most people's rent. His hands cupped his daughter's face, checking her breath, her eyes, her pulse. Relief cracked through him like a fault line. Then he looked up. At Evan. Bloodied. Shaking. Barely conscious. Sebastian Vale didn't speak. He didn't threaten. He didn't ask questions. He watched. Security footage was already playing on the cracked monitor behind the counter. The camera showed everything: Evan's hesitationless movement, the way he covered Lily, the way he absorbed the damage without knowing who she was or who her father was. The billionaire watched it twice. Then a third time. Evan spent the night in the hospital, stitched up and silent. He expected pain. He expected bills. He expected to go back to the same small life once his body healed. He didn't expect the visitor who arrived the next morning. Sebastian Vale came alone. No security. No assistance. You didn't know who she was, the billionaire said quietly. Evan swallowed. No, sir. You didn't know who I was. No. Sebastian nodded once. Good. He didn't offer money. Not yet. He offered something rarer. Recognition. You acted when fear would have been easier, the billionaire said. That tells me who you are. That moment changed Evan's life, not because of wealth, but because someone powerful finally saw him clearly. Sebastian Vale didn't turn Evan into a charity case. He didn't pull him into a world he didn't belong in. He did something far more deliberate. He opened doors. Night classes were paid for anonymously. A mentor appeared. An engineer who taught Evan discipline and direction. A better job opportunity came without strings attached. No speeches. No publicity. Just quiet leverage used responsibly. Months passed. Evan healed. His confidence grew slowly, honestly. Lily sent him a letter thanking him, not as a billionaire's daughter, but as a girl who got to keep her future. Evan kept that letter folded in his wallet. The diner was repaired. Life moved forward. But something fundamental had shifted. A billionaire had learned that power doesn't come from money, it comes from choice. And a young man learned that even the smallest moment of courage can echo through lives far bigger than his own. Evan never became famous. He never asked for recognition. He simply carried the knowledge that when the moment came, he didn't run. And sometimes, that is enough to change a life. If this story meant something to you, don't scroll past it. Like it. Share it. Comment the words, "I choose courage." Because the world doesn't change through billionaires alone. It changes when ordinary people step forward, exactly when it matters most.